Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and today we have a returning special guest. We have Maddie Gregory, Matteson Gregory, however you know her. We have her here. How's it going today?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I was reading your profile just to kind of freshen myself up a little bit. And I don't remember if it was on your Facebook or your Instagram, or maybe it was your Spotify. I've known you as Madison, like that's just
Yes.
how I was introduced to you, so that's how I know you. And then I read somewhere that it said just call you Maddie, and I'm like, hold on, my brain cannot process this right now. I don't know what to do with this information. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh
it's funny because I feel like it's like one of those things where it's like, Maddie has always been like my nickname, like my family calls me that, my closest friends and stuff. And, so kind of just two fans of my music, I'm like, hey, you can call me Maddie. Like we're in this together. Like
right,
let's get close, I guess.
right.
So
Yeah, I completely understand. It's one of those things where I have this really bad habit of I can once I learn your name one way, that's
yes.
how I know you.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes forever for me to break that.
Yeah.
And like I had a friend back in the day, um, his nickname was Door Humper. Like that's how I was introduced to him.
Oh
That's
my God.
and so once we got older, we were like 20 years old, and I just had him in my phone as like Door Humper. And I'm like, okay, this has got like that's the only time where I've ever like purposely tried to figure out what else to call it,
Yeah.
because you're 20 years old and you got a dude's name in your phone called Door Humper. It's like, yeah, so
Yeah, be like that. Hopefully that's not his real name.
right.
Like,
No, 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 no.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it
It's
but
a nickname, but yeah.
for whatever reason, however I'm introduced to him, that's how I know him, and that's
Yeah.
just it's what sticks. So,
Yeah, I
so
get that. So
but how are things going in Springfield?
they're going good. I think just really been meeting with a lot of people in the local community here, even meeting with some people like online in different places. Right now I'm working with a songwriter who's from I want to say it's like New York City, like Brooklyn, like that
Mhm.
up there in the
Yeah,
area. We just kind of connected, we crossed paths, and it's been really cool just us working on music together. And I think it's just cool to be able to write with other people and produce, like, because you can just bounce ideas off each other. And like, she like came up with this one phrase. I was like, ooh, I like that. Yeah,
yeah.
like let's go with it. This is awesome. So yeah, I think just doing a lot of just really connecting and working on creating more music and just really diving in. So
Nice, nice, nice.
yeah. I
And speaking of working on new music, you just dropped a new song. What was it? Thursday, right? Yeah,
think it was like
Thursday.
Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting here like, wait, what day is today? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So, but you just dropped a new single. Go ahead and tell us about it. What's the name of it? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, the song is called Girl in the Photo, and it was a song that it kind of like it started out like literally I was looking at like a Polaroid or something of like me and my dog. That's literally, but like I just came up with the title Girl in the Photo. That's how
Mm,
it initially started. And I was like, you know what, that might be a cool title for a song. And I really didn't have any sort of direction, but I think the more I thought about it, it was like I was even going through kind of just a time where I just was like not feeling enough because I was constantly comparing myself to other people online. Like we live in a world where we see everybody's greatest hits all the time. And,
yeah,
I mean, I share mine, but it's, when you're seeing other people, maybe they have something that you just don't have, like skin wise, or it could even just be like at a point in their career. It can just make you have a lot of self-doubt about yourself and just feel really bad. But I think also we kind of will play on this facade of like, oh, we'll act like we're okay and stuff. I mean, I've been guilty of like, I'll post a picture and like it, like me looking happy, but then it's also like, like outside, it's like I was crying or I was just really upset. It's just I was having an off day, but I want people to think I'm doing okay. And I think really what I wrote the song for was just going from that perspective. And I wanted it to be a song just to let people know, like, hey, like, you're not the only one who's going through this. Like, I think we've all dealt with this, but also that, it's also okay to not be okay. You don't have to put up a face all the time. And I think that's the biggest thing, and I've tried to be a little more vulnerable because I think it's just important to do so.
Yeah. And like flipping, like just touching on that entire subject in general, like we were talking about it before we jumped on
Yeah.
here, and it was just like it was definitely something I picked up in the song listening to it, because I've had obviously a little bit of extra time, and just kind of listening to the song, I've definitely picked all that up. But being not having to be the best PR version of yourself all the
Yeah.
time, at least on social media, and sharing those vulnerable moments, or I'm going to call them real moments, because
Yeah.
because I kind of feel like that's a little bit more accurate way to describe it. But sharing those real moments, I think A, is what people connect with the
Mm-hmm.
most,
Yeah.
and they feel a little bit closer to you as a artist, as a support, like however
Yeah.
they identify or whatever. And so to kind of write a song about that, that's really cool.
Thank you.
So, how long have you how long has this song kind of been in the works?
Um, I wrote it, I wrote it last year
Mm,
in like probably early March around that time. So the song's probably at least a year old.
mm,
And um I I essentially I wrote the song within a day. It just came that quick. And I fell in love with it. And I knew that was a song that I wanted to record. I think it just took me a while to kind of come up with a demo and like kind of just listen to other artists, kind of like get some ideas of like where I wanted the song to go. And then I think like late in the fall, that's when I sat down with Julian, who's the producer of the song, and I had sent him a demo of like kind of where I wanted the song to be, some song references, and we worked together and we came up with the song. But I've had the song kind of in the back pocket, like it's been done since like before November, but I
mm.
think it was like we were getting in the holiday season and stuff, and I kind of just wanted to really take my time and really kind of figure out how I wanted to represent it to the world and stuff. And May is also like Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm a
Yeah.
huge advocate. I was like, you know what, this seems kind of like the perfect time to release a song to let people know like it's okay to not be okay and they're not alone.
Mhm. Yep. It was the perfect time.
Mm.
And like May is kind of that weird time where it's like right before summer, so everybody's kind of
Mm-hmm.
looking for that you know upbeat summer song, but it's still kind of too early to release it. So like May is kind of like, okay, what kind of music do you release in May? But I think this was the perfect kind of in between area that it needed to be. Like it was a serious song, but there's something about it that just kind of sticks with you, and it yeah. So
Thank you. That
yeah.
means a lot.
Um so obviously, May being Mental Health Awareness Month, that kind of explains why you waited until now to put it out. But we was there thoughts of maybe putting it out earlier in the year just to kind of get it out and get more music out, or was it always just
Mm,
kind of once like November hit, or once they started getting into the holidays, it was like, no, let's wait, let's give it like some real time.
yeah. Like I think the biggest reason why I kind of waited too was like as soon as like we had finished the song, then it was like after the holidays, like January hit, I was going straight back into the studio. Like I had sessions kind of booked up. And
Mhm,
so I think I really wanted to kind of wait till a time where I had the other songs that I was like also working on
mhm,
kind of done. Cause I think um and some advice that even my producer gave me, they're like, take your time with it, especially like the artistic wise and stuff like that. And they're like, also don't like try to like, sometimes it's hard trying to release one song when you're trying to record other ones, it's kind of like, maybe like record the music first, get everything together, then you can essentially release it all. So I think that was kind of the biggest reason why I pushed back, because I was in the process of recording a lot. Like I just had a lot of sessions going on, so I wasn't really able to dedicate my time to like coming up, with
Yeah.
even like the cover photo and stuff. It was, I think that was pretty much the big reason. Like I had thought about releasing it sooner, but just with studio times, I was like, no, I was like, I'll wait. I want to be ready for it. So
Yeah. It's that's a very interesting topic. Like even I don't necessarily think about that in those terms because it's like you don't really think about, okay, I'm in the studio recording. Maybe it's not the best time to be releasing music because my brain is thinking more recording strategy instead of releasing strategy. So the fact that you had a producer that was kind of aware and just threw that out there, it actually, when you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. You know,
yeah, yeah. I
just
mean, and like, um, yeah, I mean, because essentially, like last year, that's what I was doing. I was like, okay, like record and then release. And then while I was in the process of releasing one song, I was recording the next one. And that's when he kind of said, he's like, no, you might want to kind of just record the songs first and then you can like release them and stuff. And honestly, I'm really glad he said that because it gave me a lot more time to really get together and really focus on the creations of the
mm,
songs, and also gave me time to just focus on girl in the photo and releasing that. So
okay. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you'd mentioned that you have more music on the way. Are you building to like a bigger project or or is it kind of singles right now?
so right now I am working towards doing an EP.
Hmm.
There's like I have a list of songs and I'm working with um a few writers on, because I've just been like writing a lot of different material, and there's like some newer songs I've written that I'm like, ooh, these are like really good. They may beat out like some other ones that I originally had on my list for the EP. So right now it's kind of like I'm really working on just kind of like solidifying the writing for those, and then eventually we'll probably hop back in the studio. Um, I'd like to release an EP at least within the next year. So it probably would be early next year, just
Hmm.
because, again, I think I want to take my time with it. And especially if I am writing more songs and I'm like, you know what, actually, I want this one to be on the EP, and like, we can make this other one a single. So, but yeah, I mean, right now I do have a lot of music on the works. I've been doing some collaborations, which has been a lot of fun. And I'm just really excited just to get new music out there.
Nice. Who is it? A lot of collaborations, like you talked about, with the person from New
Mhm.
York. Is it a lot of that type of stuff, or is it more like in-person people featured on tracks?
Yeah, so both. I'm doing a collaboration with another artist. He had messaged me, he loved my voice. He's like, "Hey, I think we need to do a song together." And so he actually came out here and we recorded in the studio, and it was just like so much fun. Like we really like got into the vibe of everything. And so there's that. And then I think the other collaboration is just working on like writing, and that's been great too, because it's just good, I think, to get another person's perspective. I think everybody has a different idea of something, and it can really help seeing it in a different way. So
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree. It's I think features are always really interesting because I think it could take, like, I've been going through this process over the last couple of months about if I were a musician, how I would go about releasing music, just because I get asked all the time about,
yeah.
oh, I want to release music. What's the best release strategy? Like and there is no perfect release strategy. And
Mm-mm.
one thing that's always been coming back into my mind is musicians taking songs that they've written, like releasing essentially two albums side by side. And so
Okay.
like taking the girl in the photo, taking that song, but then giving your friend a friend musician like a feature spot, say, okay,
Oh yeah.
from this point to this point, it's all you, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do with it, just give them like a featured like chorus or, like whatever it
Yeah.
is. And for some reason that just makes all the sense in the world, like taking these songs, like, because you never know what's going to hit with people. Like
Yes.
it may be the acoustic version of the song, it may be the alternative version with a feature or something like that, or it may be like the original version. So in my head it's like, while you're writing the song or recording the song, these two way, like all these things should be relatively easy to produce.
Yeah.
And I think the featured thing is something that a lot of people just either A, don't think about, or B, they're more concerned about like the co-write aspect of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been having a lot floating through my mind over the last couple of months. So
Hey, no, you're good. You're good.
uh, but no, I love the idea that you're collaborating, and especially in a place like Springfield, it's definitely like the music scenes in general, just across the country, are really starting to find their own, and I
Yeah.
think it takes a good core of musicians per city to just kind of figure out what their scene is going to be. But after talking to you, I've done a little bit deep diving or deep digging and trying to kind of like find more Springfield artists or just like Missouri artists in general. Cause, I don't, you're probably one of three Missouri artists that
Oh,
aren't
really?
from like St. Louis that come on,
Wow.
so it's kind of interesting. So I'm kind of interested to see what the Missouri music scene is like now. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, no.
um, no, that's cool. So with all that in the works, you got more music coming and hopefully the EP the beginning of 2025 there. How often are you playing shows right now? Are you playing pretty consistently or?
Yeah, this year I didn't book as many shows, but I kind of left space. Essentially, what I'd like to do is I really want to try to start opening for other artists or just really do more festivals and stuff. And um, most of my shows too for the past year, they've been where it's just a solo acoustic show, so it's
Mhm.
just me. And so I think I really am, and that's another thing is I've been trying to connect with other musicians, be like, hey, let's like play a show together. Let's like jam. Like it would be really awesome. So yeah, just really so that's why I kind of left a few dates open because I'm like, well, if I ever did get like an opening slot or just to kind of have space for if there's something to come. But I do have a few shows that are kind of scattered through the year and stuff. So at places that I've been and the people are just great and they just it's I love the venues that you can go to or the places you can go and play music and just everybody loves it. Like they're just there to like they just love music and
Mhm.
it's like it just makes it the best feeling ever. Um and I mean it's like after I'm like this is what I love doing. It's just
Yeah.
there's no better feeling like it.
Yeah. Those venues where you're the reason they're there and you're not playing because they just want background noise. You're not essentially
Yeah.
the background noise. So
Yeah.
that's always really cool.
Yeah.
Um, so when you play those shows or as you kind of start like, you know, working through these shows and start adding, like what do you look for when you book a show? Like when you're building out like a run of shows or like booking out. I don't know how you do it. Like if you go a month at a time or if you're like booked out through the year, when you sit down and you're like
Ah,
in booking mode, what do you look for in a venue or what do you look for?
yeah. I mean, first thing is I always look, make sure they play or host live music,
Mhm.
especially if it's like a bar or something like that,
Mhm.
because it's just very hit or miss.
Mhm.
But Uh, I mean, essentially a lot of the times, just depending on the type of venue and that, like I'll try to book at least a few months out. Um, of course, I've had a lot of times where there'll be like last minute shows and they'll like let me know like a month before. They're like, "Hey, we don't have any music going on this day. We'd love to have you come back." And I'd be like, "Sweet, I've got nothing. Let's set it up." So it's yeah, so I think it just depends on the venue. But yeah, like in booking mode, like what I'm looking for is, I mean, like, do they play live music? And also kind of like location. Like I'm like really trying to expand kind of like my radius of like
Mm-hmm.
where I've played shows. So looking there. And I think too, also a good thing is like kind of look at what other artists have played there before. Cause a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times there are certain artists I'm like, oh yeah, I know them or something like that. And that's how I kind of get introduced to a lot of these venues is like seeing them play at a venue. And then I just reach out and introduce myself and be like, hey, these are some dates I have, would they work? And just the rest is kind of up to fate, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
will they
sure.
respond or will they not? So
Yeah, sure. That's always been like I've always thought about going into that avenue of helping
yeah,
musicians like book shows and stuff like that, but it's just like there's so many like hit or miss variables that
yeah.
I can't control. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been in definitely been in situations trying to just do stuff for live and amplified where I show up and the venue didn't think we were serious, and so we end up sitting out there like
Oh my
because it
gosh.
was it was just like whatever the situation was, and it's like okay we came all this way, we don't have a place to do what we came to do.
Yeah.
What do we do now? And so it's like I every time I've done it, I've had a bad experience. We're working on something right now,
Oh
but
yeah.
luckily I'm kind of going through a friend that knows the guy. And so
That's good.
like
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be okay, but right now it's just there I've been left holding the bag so many times where it's like, well shit, okay, well we'll figure it out, I guess.
Gosh,
So it
man, that's crazy.
it's a whole thing. Um
Yeah.
So, what have you been into outside of music lately?
Um, really, I've been into um, I mean, it's so weird because I feel like all I do is like music stuff, but
Mhm.
I do also other things. I think one of the biggest things that I've been enjoying right now is just like I think taking time to like for myself. Like I don't know if anyone else feels like this or if you feel like this, but I always have this sense of guilt if I'm not working on something, like if I'm just like sitting there. And I've tried to like, you know, for my own mental health, be like, hey, it's okay if you want to like sit and like watch an episode of Friends or like color. I stole one of my nephew's coloring books and I found myself just like coloring while I watch TV. I'm just like coloring. um
It's amazing. I love it.
yes. It's a friend's coloring book.
Mm,
And I mean essentially I think everyone knew that I was going to take it eventually. So but yeah, I think just taking time just to really unwind and just not feel guilty
mm.
for enjoying life essentially, like going for walks with my husband and dog, or even just hanging out with my family, like taking my taking my nephew to go get ice cream. It's like, I think that's what I've been really trying to do outside
Mm.
of music, is of course work towards it, but also find that balance of like, hey, like you also got to enjoy life. Sometimes life is the thing that gives you the best inspiration. So,
Yep. Yep. I 100% understand. It's like, I mean, I think that's ultimately what led to my 2 weeks of going through it, where I was just
yeah.
like, in this spot where it's like, okay, I can't sit here and just do nothing. I need to like I need to do something. I need to do like
Yeah.
I need to get a podcast out. I need to get like YouTube videos. I need to do something.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing like, and then I got to a point where I couldn't do anything because I had like a podcast that fell through. I had a podcast that needed to get and so like all these other things started coming up where I couldn't
Yeah.
produce the content that I wanted to. And it put me in this hole of, well, crap, I'm just wasting, and it got me in my feels a bit. And when I messaged you on Thursday because I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make this work. And then I woke up Friday and I was just like, you know what? I'm not in this right now. I need to like
Yeah.
reset this weekend or something. Like I know what I need to do to reset, and it's not
Yeah.
the healthiest thing in the world to be doing, but I went ahead and did it. And I woke up Saturday morning and I was like, okay, I'm good now. So
Yeah.
I got drunk. That's what I did. Not to lead people on that I did something dangerous. Well, I mean, I guess getting drunk is kind of dangerous, but I did
I
it in this. Yeah,
Hey, I mean, I've been there too. It's okay.
I was literally sitting there. I was just like, I'm not in the headspace. That podcast. If we did the podcast on Friday, it was going to suck. I guarantee you, it was going to be bad. But
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? She'll understand. We'll talk Monday.
Yeah.
It'll be good. So
Yeah. No, and here we are, and it's great. It's going
yeah,
awesome. So,
yeah.
hey.
And I must say, I appreciate your fans for not bombarding my inboxes, because I've had a couple of podcasts recently where their fans afterwards bombard the inbox and say, "Hey,
Oh,
when are you gonna
really?
have so and so back on?" And it's like I literally just had them on 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. It's not gonna fly like that,
Like
guys.
there's only so much that happens, so
Yeah,
it's give it some more time.
right,
So,
right. And it's like I'd love to do it every week if they're releasing
yeah.
music every week or playing
Yeah.
if they're on tour or something.
Yeah.
But you know,
No.
it just ain't gonna fly. But
Yeah.
no, that's been the other thing is uh dealing with some of the weird obsessive fans. And I'm not gonna name any names just because I don't want to put it out there, but I've had a couple of people that have commented on something and then like their fans just get like weirdly obsessive about things. And it's like, okay, I'm backing off on this one. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a wild roller coaster to say the least. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I think sometimes, especially too, like your comment sections can always, if there's something going on, you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna leave this for a moment and,
Mhm.
but
And then you get that one comment where it's like
yes.
you see the alert and it's like, oh, I don't want to read this because it's probably going to be, oh, your voice sounds like it's it's going to be something negative.
Yeah.
I can't deal with it. And then you talk yourself into going to look at it and it's like the sweetest, most helpful comment, like, hey,
Yeah.
really like what you did there, maybe try this, see how that flies,
Yeah.
and it's like the most helpful thing. And it's like, that's why I don't disable the comment section, because
Yes.
I can't
For
let these
real.
20 bad things go and then
Mm-hmm.
that one just doesn't come through. So,
Oh yeah. No, I mean, and it's happened to me. I mean, I've had my share of like, like bad comments and stuff, but then it's like there are people who um I think it's just like so amazing because like some people will just go out their way just to like give you a compliment. And
mhm,
it's like you didn't have to do that. Like I had this girl on one of my TikToks, like, um, and she's like, oh man, like I just like because it was me like using the girl in the photo song and just kind of
mhm,
showing like, hey, this is just things I feel like. I feel
mhm,
like I don't like the way I look and all this stuff. And she's like, I didn't get that when I saw it. She's like, I think we're all hard on ourselves, but she's like, you have such a beautiful smile. So, and like, and just like the sweetest thing. And I was like,
yeah,
you did a lot. And I think the biggest thing I think is I'm like, oh, you didn't have to do that. Like you didn't
mhm,
have to go out of your way to tell me this. Um, so I always appreciate people who just go out of
yeah.
their way just to say something nice, you
Oh yeah,
know.
oh yeah. Speaking of which, I really enjoyed. Was it on your Instagram or did you put it on TikTok too, where you did the sped up version of?
Yeah, I think I put it on TikTok and Instagram, and
Okay.
it was just funny because like I I was I probably was like bored, or like I was working on making content, just like
Mhm,
editing some stuff. My husband, he films and he photos like a lot of my
mhm.
content.
That explains the
So
soft boxes in the background.
yes, that explains that. And um so I was like editing and I was like, huh, I wonder what this would sound like sped up. And I did it and I was like, kind of like works. And so I did a little dance and I was like, I mean, it was just funny. And like I even showed it to my husband and he's like, okay, we need to record you dancing to this like right now. And you need to post this right now
Yeah,
because this is too good. Like it's so funny.
nice. That's cool. I saw it and I was like, okay, that kind of works. Like
It kind of
it
works.
it shows that you're not taking things too seriously and it's fun, it's quirky. It's how did it do on not to get too analytical, but how did it do on TikTok?
It did pretty well on
Okay,
TikTok. I remember I had some girl comment, she's like, man, she's like, definitely a bop and your dance moves are fire. I was like, thank you. I
sick.
didn't try that hard, but thanks. Maybe I'll make it a trend or something or try to get
Nice.
people on it. So
That's cool. I'm always interested how TikTok does with things because,
yeah.
uh, like, I'm trying to figure the whole TikTok thing out because I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
personality. I'm not like outgoing where I'm going to go do dance moves or dance trends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always just kind of interested how things work out on TikTok. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. I'm still figuring it out. Like, I mean, there are some, I think that's the thing. It's like, you can always like there are some videos I'll post and like they're the ones that I didn't even think would do like that well or people would
Hmm.
connect with and like people loved it. I was like, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But
I it's always funny when that happens. It's like I threw a video up on TikTok. I've been doing like these news hit things. So like when I get
okay.
an alert from TMZ, I'll just throw a photo up and I have an AI voice clone of myself because it's a lot more efficient than me trying to fumble through doing a read on a script or something. So I just
Yeah.
throw the
Yeah.
script into my AI voice clone. And it was about something about a rapper. He was over in England and like something happened. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like maybe it'll get a few hundred plays or whatever, because I do it more for my YouTube channel. But every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, I'll throw it up on Instagram or on TikTok. And it did okay. It got like 7,000 hits on YouTube, which is
Oh
cool.
wow.
Like I was more than happy with that. But then I threw it over on TikTok and it got like 40 or 50,000
Oh
hits. And I'm sitting there and I'm
wow.
like, wait a minute, it's a photo with my voice just explaining
Yeah.
what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. I've done it other times and it gets like 7 views. Why did this one get like 50,000?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. Maybe just
It is what it
right time, right place.
that's what I always say. I'm like, it probably just happened to throw it up and it just hit like.
Okay. I think we bored your dog. I just saw your dog walk out a little bit ago.
Yeah.
He walked in, laid down, and he was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna leave.
Yeah, that's usually what he does. Like he was in the studio with me. I was recording vocals the other night and I was like, I need to shut the door. And he was just like laying in here. I was like, okay, well, like it's either you go out there or you stay in here. And I mean, he was chill. He didn't like beg to go out. So I was like, okay. But like sometimes he like wants to get out. Like he's probably just like, I'm done hearing her sing the same phrase like 7 times, like trying
Right.
to get the perfect take. So, but
Nice.
yeah, he's a
Nice.
mess. But
How old is he?
he's 7.
Okay.
So he's older, but he's so funny and just such a sweet boy. So
Fair. It's been a while since I've had a dog, and it's more just because I've lived in an apartment for the last 12 years. So
hmm
it's just kind of like, yeah, I don't want to have to deal with all that. Maybe here at some
yeah.
point I'll get a house and get a dog, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I'm not going to pay an extra $300 a month just to
hmm
have a dog. Like that's not fair.
Yeah.
So
hmm
it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Those it is what it is. Yep.
Yeah. Um, but other than that, what else do you have coming up on the horizon? Do you know like obviously you just released Girl in the Photo, but do you have like the next release lined up or what do you have coming up here?
I do have a few releases lined up. I'm still trying to figure out kind of because there's this one I really want to release. I think we're just still finalizing production, so it's not quite like finished just yet. But I feel like it'd be a really cool like end of summer kind of vibe song. So I'm really hoping to have it kind of done by that time. And then I have another song that I think it's just finishing being mixed and mastered. So there's a few of those. And then of course the feature I'm doing in that, I think we're aiming towards probably fall. I think just still
Nice.
finalizing some details. So yeah, just lots of just different projects that I'm just really excited for and for everyone to hear and stuff. So
Nice.
it's really exciting.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you're staying busy. I'm glad uh we reconnected to do the podcast.
Yeah.
When did we have you on? September? It was during, yeah, I want to say it
I
was like September, right?
I think it was like September. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
Because
it was around that time. Yeah.
it wasn't, I want to get hurt. Was it, have you seen my friends
I
or,
think it was because I know I released I Want to Get Hurt around September. So
okay.
I wonder if it was for that song. I think it was for that one. So
Okay. For whatever reason, when I was sitting there trying to figure it out, I was like, that didn't sound familiar, but now that I'm thinking about it, that sounds about right because I want to say
hmm
um Friends, that was earlier in the year, and we talked
yeah.
about it a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely earlier. So
Cool, cool, cool. Well, I'm glad we were able to sit down and chat, and you're welcome
me
back on
too.
anytime.
Thank
For
you.
anybody that wants to check out your music, any of that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
My music is on all streaming platforms. You can do Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, iTunes, I think even Deezer, pretty much just any place that you can stream music. I'm pretty sure my music will be on there. So
Nice, nice, awesome, awesome. Even on Napster, I hear Napster plays
yes,
really well.
really, because
I,
I'll have to look into that. I know like it's, when you're uploading to DistroKid, I don't think I ever uncheck any of it. I'm like,
yeah,
it can go wherever. So um yeah, no, I'll have to look into that though.
nice. Yeah, I hear
Mhm.
that's just what I hear. Like, I don't think they have very many people that use it.
Yeah,
Although with the nostalgia bait, I'm kind of surprised that it's not. I wouldn't be surprised if it does pretty good.
yeah, I'll have to check it out and see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But once again, thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch y'all later.